Welcome to the Heart of Giving. This program is devoted to learning about the nonprofit people that in the city of Long Beach and organizations that make this city have a real soul. And today we're really fortunate to have two gentlemen here from the YMCA. And Alfredo Velasquez, you have been here now how long?
2 years.
2 years. And I know you came from San Diego.
That's correct.
And we also have Bob Marion with us, who is chair of their board. But the Y, people I think know about the Y. I mean, they know we have a YMCA, but they don't really know the extent of it. I think it was with youth. That's what it probably started with. But now it has so many facets and brings in the family. But tell us about the youth programs, or just tell us what you're doing. And I know your heart's in it because we've already had our conversation, and I could tell both of you could hardly wait to get out the message. So you start, Alfredo.
Well, certainly the Y, we feel, is really a comprehensive program. It really, we think we're one-stop shopping for the whole family. So we think 3 generations of a family could come in and take advantage of the YMCA, and that's really what we're trying to do. We are known for youth development. Our focus areas are youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. So in terms of youth, we feel we're a partner in their development from preschool to college graduation, and at every stage of their development in that process. In terms of healthy living, we are providing recreational programs for young people, but we provide health and wellness programs for all. I don't know if you knew this, but the YMCA is the leading provider of diabetes prevention programs across the country. We began as a health organization. We've been a health organization, and we will continue to be that. And we try to be as socially responsible as we can by engaging the community, by being relevant, and ensuring that we provide the necessary support so that anybody that comes to one of our YMCAs, no matter the size of that particular branch, we feel that we have a big open door and we get to say yes for opportunities.
Well, those goals are wonderful. I love all of them. How do you do it?
Well, we're very fortunate.
Let's start with the youth.
We're an association of 7 branches. We serve the city of Long Beach and 12 surrounding communities.
Long Beach has 7 branches?
We have 7 branches in our association.
Oh my goodness.
We do. We have a one resident camp, 4 program and membership centers, and 3 support branches in and around the city. And each one of them has a different component. So you mentioned youth. We are a partner with the educational system here, and Long Beach Unified School District contains about 31 before or after school sites that we are present. So even beyond the 7 branches, we are present in all these schools. We do. We have 5 preschools in and around the North Long Beach area, and we serve over 500 kids every single school day.
Yeah, I went to the reading a book program that you have, which is wonderful. Okay, and I'm sorry.
I was there on that day. Absolutely, and we are the leading provider of recreational programs. We have 3 pools in the YMCA.
Swimming pools.
Swimming pools.
In Long Beach.
Yes, so providing the life-saving skill of swimming is vital as you're growing up.
That's where I learned to swim at the Y. Okay.
I did too.
Did you? Okay.
Yes.
And the YMCA here in Long Beach?
Yes, but it was the YWCA, and it was on 6th and Pacific. It was an old brick building that they said was not earthquake-proof, and it took 3 things of dynamite to get it down. It was old brick and mortar. Sorry.
Oh, I have heard stories about that.
Is that right? Sorry.
As a matter of fact, the YMCA here in Long Beach was actually chartered in 1844.
Wow.
Or excuse me, 1884, which was 4 years before the city of Long Beach was actually incorporated. So the Y has been here quite a long time.
Thousands and thousands of millions of kids and families.
Absolutely. And the person who started the YMCA, George Williams in London, England, basically a very philanthropic, civic-minded individual, wanted to help the community and help kids get off the streets and do something healthy. And the reality is that that's exactly what we still do. We are here to help young people have a positive outlet. We have lots of recreational health activities, and we still have civic-minded, philanthropic, caring individuals that lead the YMCA. It was started by volunteers, and I have one of those right here next to me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Just one more thing before I get to Bob. The programs that you have for youth, many of them have fathers or mothers involved bringing these groups together. Like I've heard more often, yeah, we were in Indian guides
yes.
together, or for the women, for the girls, it was
Indian
something
princesses.
Princess, yeah, you know, and they're friends for years afterwards. So,
Yep.
so programs like that brings family in together.
It does.
Okay, Bob, you're the president of this whole thing. You know,
Well,
what do you do to stay busy?
I am the board chair, and I share that the board with 47 community leaders who are all volunteers, and I must say we're very proud to have their participation. And we set we have fiduciary responsibility, so we set goals and priorities for the Y, and then at a lower, not a lower level, but at a different level, at each of the branches, our 7 branches, they each have a board of managers. That what's great about that is they each can set programs and priorities to tailor to their unique neighborhood, because our 7 they're all different. They all have different needs, different demographics.
Two big ones I know. How many are what you would call the big ones?
Well, I think the
I guess the one that
Weingart
have
Lakewood
pools
is probably our biggest.
The which one?
Weingart Lakewood.
And that's the one
That's newly under, faculty had a grand opening.
on Carson.
On Carson,
That's
yes.
the one on Carson.
Across from Hartwell Park, spectacular new building.
Okay, and then
We
the
have
other big one on Lakewood.
We have one on Bellflower,
Bellflower.
the Los Altos Family YMCA, which is right next to the university. And then we have the Fairfield YMCA, which is on Del Amo and Atlantic.
That's right.
We have one more branch on Woodruff in the city of Cerritos. That's part of the Long Beach Association as well. So those are our 4 program and membership branches.
And that's where people can go. And I always like to find out how they can go where you go. And so the one on Bellflower, the one on Carson, and the one on Atlantic.
In North Long Beach, right.
Yeah.
And then we have a presence downtown in the community development branch that really serves teens and at-risk teens and is highly successful. I don't know if you want to mention a little bit about that. It's kind of, that model has been going nationwide, in fact internationally. That program has been so successful.
Yeah, many in the community know about the Youth Institute, which is part of the community development branch. And the Youth Institute is an after-school academic support program. It enhances young people's knowledge of technology, so you use technology to bring them in and to help them. And it's a year-round program. And I have to tell you, it's one of the most impactful programs, so much so that the YUSA has adopted that program.
Oh.
Internationally, there are 23 replicated youth institutes around the world.
And how is
Started here.
That's wonderful. How is it? How does it go? I mean, did you have classes? Did you have them selected?
It's essentially an after-school university, and
okay.
about 80 participants per year
Wonderful.
participate in each one of these youth institutes. But there's, as I mentioned, 23 around the world. And interesting story, the other day we highlighted one of our Youth Institute alumni. She was a young gal that lived here in Long Beach in sort of a crime-ridden area. Was very, felt like she was a prisoner in her own house, but she felt safe at her house and she felt safe at the Youth Institute.
Oh wow,
And,
isn't that great?
It is great. And she, once she graduated from that program, she went off, part of it is college preparatory, so she went off to college, graduated, got her master's in social work. Now she's back on the board of the community development.
Oh no, is that right?
Helping other
That's
kids.
how wonderful.
Yeah.
I've got so much I want to ask you, and the time is running out. Tell me, like, the day at the board, at the Y. What time does it start? What do you do during the day, and how does it end?
So the interesting thing about the Y is it's really all these little small communities within the context of the larger community of the Y. So neighborhoods take advantage of the Y. So we open up at 6 a.m. in the morning, and we
Okay.
already have a line of lap swimmers ready to get into the pool.
Okay, swimming.
And the wellness program opens at that time, so
Okay.
all the fitness.
And that's for all ages.
That's for all ages.
Okay.
A little bit later in the day, when the parents want to come in, we have a child watch. So a parent comes in with their family and their youngster, their youngster goes to child watch. They can take advantage of one of the many fitness classes or the wellness programs there at the YMCA. And then throughout the day, there is a menu of programs and services, recreational and health related, throughout the day. Everything from day camp, swim lessons, sports programs, all through the end of the day. There's whirring machines in the weight room, there's splashing in the pool, there are kids laughing and playing, it's a wonderful place for a family to spend a day.
That's wonderful. And in the evening?
In the evening, our peak hours. That's when people get off of work
Oh my.
and they come into the YMCA, and they tend to stay later and later. So activities all day long through the nighttime.
And you have organized programs like the Indian Guides and all of the other
Yes,
things that...
that's evolved into what we
yeah.
call the Adventure Guides program
Yeah.
now, to be politically correct. And I was involved in that with my son, and one of the best experiences I ever had in terms of bonding with him. And as you mentioned, some of the dads that I am friends, some of my best friends today,
oh, yeah.
and a lifelong.
And their kids are growing up, and they all at the same age. And
It's an amazing program.
isn't that marvelous?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think that what you do just brings hundreds and thousands of people together that can fit into any of those niches, you know, whether they have kids or not. That the extent of what you do is one of the strongest things that we can do in a community, and that is give them something where they feel part of the community, because it makes you like your home better. It makes your life better because of the wellness that you're going to do. And you can see these young people growing and in stature like in your institute. So, you know, and I've always really been proud of Long Beach Y because of the years that it's had of success. And did I leave anything out that you want to tell me before this is over so too quick?
I just wanted to mention, as you mentioned, the involvement of this social responsibility aspect that the Y touts. We have over 250 volunteers that we leverage with our staff, and really leverage our ability to sort of give back. And people want to give back, and the Y is a venue that they can come and participate to give back, and I'm just really proud of it from that perspective.
Well, I want to congratulate both of you because all of the people I've been around that work for the Y are enthusiastic about life. They're enthusiastic about what they do, and that's to a person. And they start new programs like one with the electronic one with training there'd be technicians, and it's just they just seem to be part of wanting to give of themselves because they can see the need and what the outcome is. So I congratulate both of you. Thank you both for being here. It's been a delightful time, and it went too fast.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks. We'll be back. Welcome back. And I have a surprise for you in this next segment. This is a segment that is going to tell you something about a project that started years ago that has grown to a point where I don't recognize it. But it was started for the veterans of our area, or U.S. vets. It was for housing, it was for help. And this was like in the late 90s or early 2000. And it was because we had the Navy land. And where the Navy housing was, there was a plot of land that was approved by the city of Long Beach, approved by the federal government to be used as housing for veterans. And now we have a program, I think, that is known nationwide. And we have Steve Coleman here today, who is the executive director. He wasn't the first one, but he is the one that has guided this wonderful project into something you wouldn't believe almost. And Steve, I'm so glad you're here because I can remember it started with Steve Peck. Right. And I can remember that we talked to so many people, and everything all came together. I mean, the alignment of the stars came when the land was available, when the federal government was happy about it, when Long Beach and the citizens felt that this was a good way to go. So I want to just let you know how proud I am of what you're doing. So tell us. I'll stop. You know, I could have just talked on myself, but I'll let you talk.
Well, firstly, I think you're absolutely right. This couldn't happen today, probably, to have that amount of land available for the benefit of the homeless. And your involvement with the base closures and bringing that back to the city, and then for the people like yourself, Steve Peck, there are many people who were involved in the beginning. Steve was really the champion, but to have the vision to look at an abandoned base that was overgrown and dilapidated buildings and
Old houses,
to,
old buildings.
it was the Cabrillo Naval Station housing for the Long Beach Naval Base, and that was, the base closed down in '93. This process all started. It took years and years of planning and thinking and convincing
Going
local
through the
governments, all state, local, federal government. Everybody was involved. But it came together. The vision came together as a collaborative, as a continuum of care. It was predominantly veterans in the beginning, but it wasn't just veterans. It was emergency shelter for families. I think Catholic. There were half a dozen organizations that came together right away as sort of a coalesced. It was Century Housing, which was the investor basically, and provided the first amount of funding. U.S. Vets, private developer. And Catholic Charities opened an emergency shelter, comprehensive child development, another Long Beach.
Well, it became a center for groups that would help the homeless, but they may be around the city. They all came together on the base.
Exactly, the collaboration of.
And what did you start with? Did you start with bungalows? Was it bungalows? or?
They actually brought in some. They rehabbed about 20 buildings that were just family housing, and created programs. And like I said, there's a child care, emergency shelter. The VA came in as well and started a drug and alcohol treatment program for formerly homeless vets. And U.S. Vets was providing the housing services and the supportive services. And again, it was predominantly vet at the beginning. And then over time, as it started out with 250 people living there and maybe 50 staff people. And that was back when there were no phones, and I mean, it was really
Primitive.
very primitive, very basic. And I wasn't involved right at the very beginning, but I came in about 12 years ago, first as a just asset manager for Century Housing. As we oversaw it, we were sort of the owner of the land. The land had been transferred from the city over finally to Century Villages to take title of land. And Century created the organization, a nonprofit called Century Villages at Cabrillo, Inc. So there's really two. There's Century Villages is the place. It's the property and all the housing that's there now. And then Century Villages at Cabrillo, Inc. is the nonprofit organization that we consider ourselves the stewards of the property and to keep it in as a dignified, affordable housing development for the former homeless.
I was there, maybe a month ago, and I couldn't believe the change in, I was there in 2006 before I left office, but I hadn't seen it since then. And I mean, it's a village. It's not just a series of small bungalows.
And that's the key. It's a collaborative of all these different types of housing. There's emergency shelter, there's transitional housing, and there's permanent housing, and there's permanent housing for adults, about half of our population. There's over 1,000 people that live there in a given day, and over half of them are formerly homeless veterans. And they come in and are supported by U.S. Vets and the organization, and are provided supportive services and a career center.
Yes, what do you do to help them? I mean, if they're homeless, they need services. What do you do to help them specifically?
We work very closely with the City of Long Beach. Again, we couldn't do this. Honestly, couldn't do it in Los Angeles. We can do it in Long Beach because Long Beach is a very supportive city that really is looking to solve problems. And we work very closely with our councilman and the mayor and the planning department and health and human services all play a vital role in what we do there.
That's great.
And they work very closely. Most of the agencies that work on campus with us are funded through the continuum of care, the local continuum of care. And so that funding provides for the supportive services, the career centers and the counseling, and the VA provides, I said, drug and alcohol rehabilitation and programming. Comprehensive Child Development, another Long Beach nonprofit that runs child care agencies, has a child care operation on site. So all these different programs, and as the stewards of the property and as the backbone organization, we're there to continue to help all the other programs make sure that we're communicating, we're all looking in the same direction, working hard to provide services but not duplicate services, so that the funding that is being used is targeted and is being as efficient as possible.
And do you have very many that are just one night and leave? I mean, it seems like they stay.
Not yet. We have, I think, we do a social impact report, sort of an annual report every year that reports the aggregate outcomes of all of our programs, consolidates it. We work very closely with the Health and Human Services, and they're using their their management information systems to gather data so we can report real data out, as well as human interest stories. But that last study showed that 93% of our residents stay longer than 6 months. And that's actually better than a lot of the national averages.
Take advantage of the services that
Take
you
advantage
have.
of the services, yeah.
Get back on their feet.
And get up there. That's the biggest thing, is trying to provide that supportive environment where people can, I mean, just giving a person a room or an apartment, that's only a Band-Aid. That doesn't really solve.
Yeah, but that's what you need, shelter first, and then
Absolutely,
you, okay.
shelter and food and safety. And once that basic element is provided, you still need all the supportive services to help people, to educate them, health and wellness, and to give them the opportunities. And that's what career centers, and we do enrichment class, all the programming that goes on campus. We try to help coordinate that so that people have opportunities, and also social connections. I mean, that's somebody that's been homeless and on the street for 2 or 3 years. Coming back and getting connected and having a real personal relationship is huge. And to be able to provide that environment where people can feel comfortable to reach out and help each other. And I'm inspired every day I walk on our campus.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Because you have folks that have been maybe have been homeless for 2 or 3 years, and they've gotten settled. They've went through a program of some sort, and they've gotten into permanent housing. And they're the first ones to reach out and help somebody else.
Oh, isn't that great?
And to offer some advice, or and you see it every day.
And you also have families.
We have about in 2000. We
And a
originally
school.
Yes, originally we worked very closely with Long Beach Unified School District. We have I guess it was the first star was continuing with emergency shelters, and both for veterans and non-veterans, and we had some transitional housing for veterans, and we found that the idea was they would get settled, get a job, have a rent-paying history with us for a period of time, and then be able to move out back into the community. And there was some boomeranging going on there because they were losing the supportive environment. So we built out what we call the Plaza, which is a 200-unit apartment complex that was permanent housing for veterans specific. And that really expanded and started the expansion. And then that was in 2004. In 2008, we opened the Family Commons, which was our first foray into family housing. And that's where the city of Long Beach really stepped up and invested several $1 million, actually $7 million, into that.
To educate,
well, that was to actually build. Most of this building is done with tax credit investment, but the city invested to make the deal work, and so there's subsidized housing there, low-income housing, and we have 80 families that are no longer on the street. And many of them have been there since the inception in 2008. And we're right next door to Cabrillo High School. We're a little ways away from Hudson Elementary. And then there's also the Long Beach Unified runs it's called the Bethune Transitional Center, Learning Center on campus. That was, we were able to build that school out with the help of our supervisor, Don Kanabi, who is also very much a friend of the villages. And then we just, as of last week, we opened our newest family development, Cabrillo Gateway, which is 80 apartment homes for all. And the criteria for coming in there is you have to be homeless and certified homeless through the City of Long Beach's Multi-Service Center and or service providers. And we moved 11 families in last week. We're moving another 20 in next week.
Oh my.
We'll be full up and hopefully doing a grand opening
just
celebration.
Seeing a family have a new
it's just
place
incredible. I mean,
that didn't have anything.
There are kids coming in that look at it and the closet is bigger than where they've been living, you know, to have their own space for the first time.
Oh, my.
And it's beautiful space,
Oh,
and,
my.
and so we're really excited about that. And another big game changer there is the Children's Clinic, which is a Long
Yeah,
Beach-based clinic,
I know.
is opening
services,
their, they're opening the clinic.
The services of Long Beach are expanding to take care of the villages of Cabrillo.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
And TCC, the Children's Clinic will actually serve not just the residents of Century Villages, but the
Yeah.
entire West Long Beach area.
That's
so
great.
they expect to serve over 5,000 people
Oh,
in
my.
the coming years.
Well, our time is up, if you can believe it. But like, just the last statement, how many people do you have there, like permanently now? Well, I won't say permanently. How many people do you have there that you take care of? Somebody that's been there one night or 5 months?
We have when Cabrillo Gateway fills up, we'll have about 1,300 people that live there on any
my.
given night with 20-some different service providers providing some sort of
Oh, my.
services and support services to all of them. We've got 250
Steve.
people
I
that
know
work
our
there.
time is up and it's terrible, but you've done
you.
so many wonderful things.
Thank you
and
for having me
it's
on. I really appreciate
PCH,
it.
isn't it?
It's right before the terminal. It's just north of where PCH and the Terminal Island Freeway
Okay,
come together.
That's right. Well, thank you so very much.
Thank you
I
so much
love-
for having me. I
yeah,
really appreciate it.
absolutely. Nice to see you,
Nice
Steve.
seeing you again.
Thank you very much for watching, and I just hope that your eyes are opened with the wonderful services that nonprofits and what they're doing for our community. Thank you very much for watching.